the way society has always lived. There is a way society has been and is being kept going. 2 is equal to 1, but 1 is not equal to 2. 1 is greater than 2, and 2 is less than 1. These are two of some of the mysterious mathematical statements. They may be unknown to the public, but it does not make them any strange. I encourage you to be patient, as some of the things you will hear might be amazing, but vanity or virtual knowledge is made known to us. Let us learn together.
Welcome to this introduction using our spiritual approach or the biblical approach on the virtual world. God in his creation, I want people to have it very clear. Because if we fail to get the meaning of what is happening in relationship to God, then God has lied to us. If we fail to relate what is happening and what the Bible states, the problem is ours. But I am very clear, God has never made a mistake. Virtual world, which we talk about in many circumstances, is very clearly mentioned in the Bible. Actually, to be more direct as I begin, the word virtue is synonymous to vanity. In the Bible, the word virtue is not used, but the word vanity is used. And the two are synonymous without controversy. When God created all things, the Bible clearly states it in Romans chapter 19, verses beginning from chapter 8, verses 19 to verse 24. After God created everything, he subjected all things, all creation, to vanity. That is one quote of the scripture I want you to bear in mind first. The second quote in the Bible is James chapter 3, verses 6. James clearly talks about a world of iniquity. He talks about the world of iniquity. But at this point, I want us to draw out very clear terms that at the point when God had just finished creating, he says it was good. So if he had finished creating heavens and earth, if he had finished creating the universe and all its fullness thereof, and it was good, it can't have been the very world which was good, which he was referring to as the world of iniquity. No. So this gives you an impression there are two worlds. And here I want us to be very specific. There is the world James is referring to as the world of iniquity, but there is the other world also, which God created, which was good. So two worlds. And when Jesus came on planet Earth, third quote, he clearly tells the listeners, you are in this world, but are not of this world. Two worlds, very clear. So which are these two worlds? Although one is already being mentioned of as the world of iniquity in James, although the other one is also talking about the world to which they gave creation to be subjected to, there is this world which was good. So where God subjected things, according to Romans chapter 8, which we made as our first quote, he clearly states as you go down in that text of scripture that there where he put it, creation is groaning. So it can't be groaning where they made it good. It is groaning where it is not happy. It is groaning where it is uncomfortable. It is groaning, yearning to return. It is groaning, wanting to go back to where it otherwise belongs. So all creation, man inclusive, is in the other world, away from the world. Because when God created man and he subjected them to be controlled by vanity, he didn't take them out of this world to another world, What I'm trying to say very clearly is that the two worlds exist in one. The two worlds are here. So the world of vanity, which is synonymous to the world of vanity, I mean the virtual world, both of them are here. So if one wants to doubt it and think that when we say vanity exists, or when we say virtue is not real, people should be able to understand that the Bible knows vanity has been there from the time past. So virtue is not a new concept. The Bible knows virtue has always existed. And when God subjected creation to vanity, where it is groaning of something that is wrong. It can't be groaning for something that is good. It can't be. So virtue has got something wrong with it. And I want my brothers, the listeners, to understand me that virtue has got something wrong with it. No matter how scientific, no matter how technological, no matter how good it may be portrayed, that good has got some bad alongside it. And we must be careful. That's why we are sounding this drum beat. And as we sound it, we're also sounding on the other side our victory or our triumphant trumpets, to let the people know that your Father from the beginning knew these things. Your Father from time immemorial has been aware, because that text of scripture that I gave you, number 1 in Romans chapter 8, he tells you he put those things there with the same hope that he's going to redeem it. So one day, one time, at a certain moment, redemption is at your doorsteps. Redemption is with you. And when he redeems you, he doesn't take you back to that world. He takes you to another world. That's why I say, if vanity exists, be sure the true also exists. If vanity is there, then indeed the true also is there. Any man listening to me, any woman listening to me, my cry, my desire for you is that you will yearn to go to the true, because the virtue is there. The vanity world exists, and that is where we live. In that world of vanity, everything seemingly looks like. True examples I can give you of a world that seemingly looks like, according to Bible quotes. I'll go to Revelation chapter 17. Actually he mentions it 2 times in that text of scripture. When he's referring to that mystery woman, the mystery Babylon, he says, the woman who was and yet was not. Look at that. The woman who was and yet was not. Then the second text he mentioned it, he says, yet the woman who was not and yet she was. 2 times. One time she appears as if she was, and yet she was not. One time she appears as if she is not, and yet she is. Can you look at the 2 things where this woman seemingly looks like she is, and yet she is not? Then on another context, she appears as if she is not, and yet she is. So virtue exists. Virtue is real. Vanity is real. The Bible knows it. The Bible is aware that world exists, and most of the things were given in to be controlled by vanity. But vanity is not supposed to be our destination. That's why I mention it to the people and I tell them, be careful. Virtue should not overtake you. Virtue should not control you. Virtue should not override you, because it's not the final destination. Virtue is not the end. We bounce into it, but we must get back to our original. We may live in it, but we don't belong to it. That's why I'm telling you, with all the goodness of science, let's enjoy the goodness. But be careful never to be overtaken by it. We may live with all the goodness of the technology, and I encourage people to enjoy it. Nevertheless, it should not overtake you, because that is not our final destination. Our destination is we shall return to the true. So when we're talking about the world of vanity, we want you to be sure the world that is real also exists. The true world is there. So when we are speaking about the world of vanity, vanity is one confusing thing. Virtue is one confusing thing. Why? Because it makes the things that are as if they are not. And it sometimes turns the things that are not as if they are. If we looked at our lives today, according to the scriptures, you will be shocked at how much of a man sometimes he lives a life which is far away from otherwise what the original creator had intended. Today, as we look at the things, many of the things which were original, but I want here to say carefully, allow me to bring in some few definitions. I want people to bear in mind as I'm speaking in this text that we should be able to distinguish between the natural and the original. Because sometimes we think everything original is natural. Although everything natural is original, not everything original is natural. We should be able to understand clearly when we are talking about going back to the world that our Father created. When we're talking about going back to the original context, we are talking about going back to our natural context. Today, many of the things that we live with, today, many of the things we live by are more and more artificial, more and more modified, more and more away from the original. And that is a danger. That is a danger. That is a danger. Why am I calling it a danger? It is a danger for two things. Here, I want to quote the parable of the rich man who planted his vineyard. It was given by our Master Jesus Christ. He says, and then he went to a far country, but on instance, after some time, he sent servants to go and check out for the fruits, that they may give him some thereof. But the people he sent were all the time beaten, Until finally he said, maybe let me send my own son, peradventure they will respect him. When he sent his own son, who was Jesus Christ at that time, the parable says the man was killed, the boy was killed, the son of the owner of the vineyard was killed. And the question that follows there says, but what shall happen to those men when he comes? Here, when I'm talking about a danger, I want to explain the danger in brief. Here is a person who had been rented temporarily this vineyard. But now he doesn't want to give it back. And every person they were sending, he's beating and threatening, until when he kills. Why is he doing all this? In the text, he puts it clear. He says, this is the son who is even going to be the heir of this thing. So this is the person who is going to take it away from us. Let's even kill him. So they want to retain it. Here in everything that is happening, virtue, I want you to be aware. We are informed. We are not ignorant of the schemes. You want to turn what belongs to our Father and own it, according to that parable. You want to turn what belongs to God and make it your own. You want to turn the things of the one who rented it to you and turn it to make it your own. So you are in the business. You are in the business of distorting, of changing, of removing what otherwise would be the natural one and substitute it with your own, so that by the time the owner will come, he will find things when they are not what he gave you, so that you will claim they are yours. That game, every man listening to me, every woman listening to me, be aware. When we are changing crops, it is not an accident. When we are changing animals, it's not an accident. When we are changing even the air we breathe, when we are changing the waters we breathe, we have to drink, it is not an accident. There is a campaign of this man who had been rented the yards, trying to repossess it as if it were his by changing things to look different from otherwise what the owner gave him to have. So that struggle is there. That campaign is on. When we look at the struggle between God and Satan, or the owner of the vineyard and the one who he rented it to, I want us to begin giving it another dimension. Many times when we talk about the conflict between the devil and God, people have given it a narrow perspective and have not looked at the depth of how much the devil is doing, what he is getting to, and why he is getting there. And we look at just simple demonic manifestations and we call them the works of the devil. My brother, my sister, the listener, be aware the works of the devil are deeper than what we have been doing and looking at as a church. The works of the devil are deeper because his campaign is to possess and own what otherwise God had rented out to him. He wants to have what otherwise the owner, when he comes, should not find what he gave him, but should find other things changed. And this campaign is so crude to such an extent that it is not only aiming at destroying crops, it's not only aiming at destroying animals, it is even stretching out, and it wants to reach out to man, that man may also be turned if possible. So by the time God comes here, the man he left in his own image will no longer be there, but there will be, I don't know, maybe I may say a genetically modified man. What a danger it will be at that moment. But that campaign is on because the devil also is aware that you and me who are Christians, we are definitely going to join with God because he calls us his co-workers. And if we are co-workers with him, then we're supposed to also be possessing the vineyard together with God. And the devil is aware you want to possess the vineyard, which he is also fighting to possess, or to retain, or to maintain as his. So he can't like you as a man. Be on the lookout. He is on the campaign, if possible, to destroy man as well. Leaving that a little bit, I'll go behind a little bit to show you how vanity in a man, how virtue in a man is robbing our lives, is robbing us of our families, is robbing us of our capacities, is robbing us of our abilities, and substituting us slowly by slowly. And by doing that, he wants to make sure Genesis chapter 1 verses 26 to 28 does not stand. What does it say there? God created you to domineer, to manage, to multiply, to replenish, to have dominion over these things. And the devil says, if I don't destroy this man, he's going to possess them, so I should destroy him in advance. Watch out, he's in the campaign for your life. Watch out, he's in the target of making sure you lose your natural instinct, your natural feelings, your natural capacities, your natural abilities, and he will, if possible, substitute you with his abilities. So why will you do the other one that otherwise God had intended for you? We will have lost at it. So be on the lookout, my brother. Be on the lookout. Virtue is intending to rob you. If we can't unite as a body, because God intends us to be a united body, and we end up by relating virtually, where shall you unite from? Where shall you commune from? Where will you fellowship from? Look at how much he's destroying you if you don't wake up. Look at how much he's targeting you if you don't wake up. So be on the mindful side. Virtue is targeting you also. Just as it comes with its goodness, be mindful about the camouflage it might be coming along with. As it is coming out with all its good fruits, be mindful on what otherwise may also be the side effects, which is to target at destroying you, destroying your home, destroying your children. Because look at what science is destroying us with at our homes. Technology. We now have virtual parenting. Your children have got TVs to parent them. And now, where do they get the feelings of a mother from? Where do they get the feelings of a father from? Where do they get the feelings of their fellowship from if it is robbed away from them? slowly by slowly, mothers are becoming less instinctively responsible, and all they think of doing is to buy and cook food for the children. The rest of the feelings and love, not their concern. When we look at certain things, you see how much of the fathers who only think that apart from paying school fees, they are not supposed to be availing themselves for their children. I have done everything. I've given them food. I've given their mother money. I'm there. And they think the story has ended. When do the children have their father to play with? When do their children have the abilities to relate and also have fun with their fathers? And look at how they are robbing us. And we are not mindful. I bought for them TV. I bought for them computer games. I bought for them. Good as they may be, they still need you. They still need us. And we must be available for them. So I want to let you know, as I am doing my first introduction to you, that the term virtue is just an English term, but it is synonymous to vanity, because vanity is one thing the Bible talks about which makes things to be like even when they are not. It also makes the things which are as if they are not. So be careful. What you are seeing is just mere developments of the same old game, the same old changes, the same old tricks that the enemy has been playing. And I don't want it to catch you. Wake up, because you are born to succeed. You are born to win. No matter where they put you, no matter where they put me. Once we manage the game of the virtue successfully, we can have successful homes. We can have successful parenthood. We can have successful relationships with one another. We can have even from the science, we may know which things to manage directly, which things we may manage by averting, which things we may manage by either giving a counter reaction, but not to be eroded. There, be careful.
Thanks for watching. If you find it helpful, please share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.